Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and a very warm welcome to Evolving Consciousness. Today's video, we are going to talk about the great inception. Yes, you heard that right, the great inception. This video is not going to be a review of the movie Inception, or it's not going to be something about the movie Inception. But this video, we are going to talk about an inception which you and me and every human being in this planet, consciously or unconsciously, is a victim of. Now, before we go into the body of this video, let me start with the short story. There once lived a man who all his life did all atrocious things possible. He robbed people, he killed people, he slaughtered them, he looted them, and he enjoyed life at the cost of others' misery. Such was the great accomplishments of this person. He was truly evil. And this person, one fine day, exits the material world. He dies. The angel, who we call as Chitrakoot in our Sanatan heritage, did a thorough assessment of his karmic records and gave him a particular place. Now, the next time this man regained consciousness, he found himself amidst a place which seemed like heaven. And the angel who greeted him there told him one thing, that whatever you can think of, or whatever you want to need, whatever you want to enjoy, just think about it and you will get it. The man was perplexed. The man was thinking to himself, maybe there has been a divine mistake. Maybe I was mistakenly brought to the heaven, because he himself knew that all his life he had done all kinds of atrocious activities which would qualify to be called a sin. But still he finds himself in a mesmerizing location, and the angel here is telling him that you, my friend, whatever you want to enjoy, you can enjoy. And you are not going to fall sick, you are not going to age. No matter how much you eat, no matter what kind of junk you eat, it's not going to have any detrimental effect on your health. You can do anything and you're still not going to face the negative consequences of that. You can enjoy as much as you want. The man, as any normal person would, was exuberantly happy. He was exceedingly happy, because this was more than just a dream. He would have never expected that he will get such a place post his great series of sins journey. But this man happens to reincarnate this. So he happily indulges in all kinds of enjoyments. Days pass into weeks and weeks into months and months into years. And after a certain point, this man sort of gets bored with all the enjoyments. And he goes to the angel and asks him, "Dear angel, I think I can do some work now. I think I have already enjoyed a lot. Is there something to which I can contribute? Or is there any valuable work for me?" Now for this the angel said, "No sir, you have no work to do. You just need to enjoy." Now this man was a little frustrated, a little annoyed, and he said, "What do you mean enjoy? I have already enjoyed the things which I wanted to. I really need some amount of work now, because I am feeling bored with the same amount of enjoyments." The angel said, "No sir, that's not a possibility in this realm." "What the hell?" said the man. "This place seems like hell." The angel with a brief smile said, "Sir, you're right, this is hell." A beautiful story, isn't it? This story has a very deep underlying message to deliver. We all have this fascinating idea of our dream lives. A life wherein we don't have to put much effort. A life wherein everything happens on its own accord. A life wherein everything is supplied to us without us even trying to move a finger. I'm sure each one of us would have fancied such a life, which we call as dream life. We always look at the celebrities and say these people have so much money, they are stinking rich, and probably they don't have to think for what I need to do for the next month and for the next decade. But the point we miss here is that no matter how much we acquire, no matter how many things which will satisfy this dream equation of life, the true need of every human being is a sense of contribution, is a sense of being able to be of some value. No matter how much of an appetite you hold to enjoy, that is also going to have a threshold. You cannot just sit and enjoy and not do anything. You will start feeling frustrated and annoyed after a certain point of time. Isn't it a very interesting narrative? This story exposes such a futile mindset which we have unconsciously generated. There is also room to think that once we have this story in place, our narrative, our way of thinking about certain things drastically changes. Because now we understand the futility of chasing the dream life. We understand that how stupid and insignificant this idea of achieving a certain level, a certain status could be. Now I'm no way suggesting that one should not chase goals or one should not go after those lofty ambitions. One should definitely go for them, but the motivation should not be the fact that that particular thing will give me everlasting happiness, because there is no thing such as everlasting happiness. Happiness is essentially not a destination. Happiness is a journey. And the more one realizes this, the intent behind his actions changes. Now, this does not mean to say that we should stop striving for our goals. What it only reminds us is strive for things with the right intention. Strive for the things with the right understanding that what is in store for me. Because if we are putting a lot of effort in trying to get something, in the desperate need, in the desperate thought process that getting this thing will make me happy, that probably is not the right way to go about it. Also, I would like to talk about a very nuanced but related concept to this narrative. Now, as I talked about the great inception, the great illusion, the sad reality of modern day times is that most of us are not sad because of our suffering. We are sad because related to the other person we see in the world, we are either worse positioned or better positioned. Obviously, we feel sad if we are worse positioned to the other person. No matter how many times we hear this age-old proverb which says comparison is the thief of joy, consciously or unconsciously, we fall prey, we fall victim to this thought process. Now, interestingly, no matter how much we have been hearing this proverb, I come from a time where the marking in schools was objective. There was no system of subjective grading. But sadly now, even the grading system in academic curriculums, right from primary to secondary, it's all about comparative. It's all about a subjective grading system. So what that essentially means is, it doesn't really matter how good or how bad I perform in an examination objectively. What really matters is how good or bad I perform as compared to all the people in my class. Now, just understand, just look at this with keen observation, that how much of this has been programmed at a very early age, and we probably are not even aware of it. And once we have this kind of a mindset, where we are always trying to build our subjective reality based on the things which other people have, we are bound to fail, because no matter how high you rise in life, there's always going to be someone who's above you. There's never a person in this world who can claim that he's always at the top for eternity. There's always going to be someone who's better than you in some way or the other. And it is intelligent to accept that human beings is a human being. It is said that Lord Shri Krishna had 16 qualities. He was a Purna avatar. Lord Shri Rama and Lord Shri Krishna both are Purna avatars. However, the subtle difference is that Lord Krishna was 16 sanskar sampur, meaning he was having the perfect manifestation of those 16 qualities, while Lord Rama had 12. We'll get into that in some other video, but the point I'm trying to drive here is that this constant striving, this constant rat race, in trying to succumb, in trying to prove your worth based on someone else's worth, is a foolish narrative. Now, the good news is that comparison can be used for our advantage. The bad news is there is no escaping this comparison narrative. No matter how much we come to say this, that comparison is the thief of joy, we have to exist in this comparative environment. And comparison has served us. If you think about it, right, if you were the only person in the planet, you would probably not do so many things which you are now currently doing. Just think about it. It's a very deep thought which I am planting in your mind. If you were the only person in the planet, do you think the things which you are currently doing would be of any value? Now, this is a point which I tried to bring about, giving some context on this comparison narrative. Now, one can always use this comparison narrative to his own advantage. Now, let's say, since you have been able to watch this video, you were among those lucky people in the planet who was able to get up. There are countless people who couldn't see their sun of today. Isn't that lucky enough? You might say that might be an overly blown sense of perspective. But perspective is what defines a reality. A reality is always bombarded with so many perspectives, so many different angles and nuances of thinking. Now, when we start using comparison for our advantage, we are in a better position to build our esteem. But this does not mean to say that you always need to compare yourself with people below you in any yardstick and feel great about it. No, that's not what I'm saying. There's a difference between feeling grateful and feeling arrogant. There's a thin line of difference between these two subtle emotions. And if you think about one such emotion, which probably is an offspring of this narrative, an unwanted offspring, I would say, the word is jealousy. Now, jealousy is an emotion which every person in some walk of life at some point of time would have felt. Whether they realize it, whether they're honest enough to admit or not, is a different thing. And the point about emotions are, they are very subtle. It's so subtle that one may not even understand that it's jealousy. Now, let me give you a practical way to understand whether the emotion of jealousy has ever arisen in you or not. Let's say there's someone you hugely despise. There's someone whom you cannot really have any kind of a cordial relationship with. You don't like that person for some XYZ reason. And if that person does really well in life, in any dimension, be it his career, be it his finances, be it his expansion of properties, in any reason, in any way, you will always find a way to criticize him. You will always find a way to sort of criticize his achievements. It's so unfortunate. Recently, we all witnessed the consecration of the Ram idol in the Ayodhya temple. And there are many people who have contributed to that. But Narendra Modi was a catalyzing force behind this. And there are people who are sort of denigrating his achievement, and they are talking all kinds of illogical things. This is a very clear sign of jealousy. You might not resonate with his political ideologies, and that's perfectly fine in democracy. But one thing we need to respect and acknowledge is if someone has achieved something in any aspect of his life, that person deserves acknowledgement, that person deserves respect. Just because you don't like that person, doesn't mean you criticize him and you speak low of his achievements. If you have ever read a plot in the Srimad Ramayana, which is called as the Sundarkand. So Sundarkand, for folks who don't know, is a particular plot in the holy text of Ramayana where Lord Hanuman is going to Lanka, is traveling to Lanka. It starts with the context where Jamwant is pushing Hanuman. He's sort of awakening the inner genius, the inner powers. He's reminding Hanuman of his infinite potentials. And the whole journey of Hanuman to Lanka, and there's so many different characters he meets along the way. There's one particular character which Hanuman really assassinates. There are many people who he meets along the journey, but one particular demon by the name Simhasi. So this Simhasi snake, a demoness, she had this unique way of killing people. So there was this huge ocean, and whenever she would see the shadow of her possible prey, she would just come up and catch it. I like to think of jealousy in the same context. Now, someone is doing really well in life, somebody is flying up, and we want to just pull him down, or we want to focus on his weaknesses. That is a sure sign of jealousy. Fulton Sheen observed so well when he said, jealousy is the price mediocrity pays to the genius. I want to repeat that. Jealousy is the price mediocrity pays to the genius. Now, the only thing which you and I can do is to get rid of this emotion if it arises in the most subtler ways. Because emotions are very tricky. They can arise in absolutely convoluted and very obnoxious ways. Inferiority complex can manifest as superiority complex or a feeling of bragging. There are some people who would like to portray themselves as extraordinarily superior. They would probably brag about their great achievements. But that is an inverted form of inferiority complex. The point I am trying to drive is firstly to understand that we are living in this illusion, and nobody in this world is perfectly fine. Everybody has their own set of challenges. Once you have this deep understanding, you will start focusing on your own life. Instead of comparing yourself constantly with the outer world, you will start to see that how you can improve. Getting inspired from someone above you is a completely different emotion. It's a completely different ball game. Everyone can look at Shri Narendra Modi and feel inspired. But we can also feel greatly jealous of him and say that this person is just all words and no action. We can talk a lot of things about him, we can criticize him, we can badmouth him. But understand one thing, whatever someone achieves in his life, he truly deserves it. There is no concept of injustice when it comes to the world of failure and success. This can be very simple. This can manifest in so simpler ways. Let me give you some very common examples so that you can sort of hover about this thought process. Let's say someone is staying in a rented facility. All his life he has only stayed in a rented facility. And now he sees his so-called enemy is enjoying life as his own private mansion. Now this person will do all the things in the world to badmouth his achievements. He might even go to the extent to say that all the money is corrupt. Whether that's an objective reality, whether it's a factual statement or not, is not the point. The point is, whatever that person has got, He truly deserves it. How he has got, through what means, we are no one to judge. Because this universe is working through a game, through the laws of nature, which are very, very difficult to comprehend. It's not a linear equation. Swami Vivekananda put it so well when he said, we all are in a journey to enlightenment. We all are towards the journey of enlightenment. We all are moving towards liberation. Whether you are a spiritual or not a spiritual person, the difference is the pathway to liberation or enlightenment or to freedom is radial, not linear. We all are basically positioned at different distances which are radial. The path is never linear, it's radial. What that means is, whether you are aware of it or not, we are all moving towards that. Some are very far away from it, some are very close to it. Some might take probably 2-3 more lifetimes, some might be ready this lifetime. I hope this example brought a lot of sense to you, because this is a very deep quote if you think about it. And this narrative, this illusion, this deception is probably the greatest cause of human suffering. We look at celebrities, we look at people who have had great lives, and we unconsciously or subconsciously start envying them, saying that that person doesn't have to worry about things, his life is sorted. No, that's the biggest misconception. Every person is going through his challenges. And once we acknowledge that, once you understand, once you realize what Lord Krishna talked about 5,000 years back in chapter 8, he said, Dukhalya Ashashvatam. This material world is a constant place of unease. Now, this might seem like a pessimistic outlook, but this is not pessimism, this is realism. We should stop planting, we should stop fantasizing this positive, toxic, positive mindset, wherein everything is fine, and that is not a reality. And once we acknowledge this, once we understand the depth of certain narratives, we begin to appreciate what we really have in life. Otherwise, we are always hunting through approvals, through validation games. We all need validation. We all need validation to feel worthy. In one of my previous videos on the Saint Surfer in CEO, I defined love as being utility, right? How useful are you? Now, when one firstly hears this, he might say this is a very dry or a stoic definition of love. But it's not a stoic definition. If you understand the depth of that particular definition, it is truly enlightening. Now, when we talk about love as utility, right? So, what does that mean? It basically means that in terms of utility, are you emotionally useful to someone? Are you physically useful to someone? Are you physically useful to your own self? Emotionally available to your own self? And also, this also means that this particular emotion of love is not something which is romanticized and fantasized in the entertainment industry. This is basically coming from this understanding that you need not necessarily be useful. Now, one may argue that what kind of a dry definition is that? Now, let's say that I grow old and I have a paralytic attack and I'm not of use to anyone, right? And I'm not of use to anyone either physically, emotionally, financially. Then does that mean that nobody deserves to love me or I don't deserve love? No, that's not the case. Let me explain. Now, someone who is dear to you, if he comes across such a situation, if he goes through such a situation and you are happening to serve him, the very fact that that person is alive is in itself a blessing, is in itself a reason to love them, is in itself a reason for you to feel worth. We don't really have to do something to feel love or to feel worth. Our very existence, our very being is enough for that. I hope these topics are making a lot of sense. That really the context and the narrative I'm trying to build in this video is about this illusion and deception and inception, whatever word you like to call it. This thing needs to be fully exposed, because most of us are living in this fake reality, this fake dream life narrative. In reality, there is none. Even celebrities are going through their own set of challenges. But interestingly, have you ever observed this, that you have never heard a spiritualist commit suicide? You would have heard people who are at the top in the material world, they would have done such a thing. But you would have never heard a person who has been having a spiritual background, who's a spiritualist, commit suicide. Isn't this such an oxymoron? Isn't it so puzzling to think about? Because logically speaking, this person who has supposedly got everything in life, he should be better off, because that's how we think. That's how we think life works. That's how we think the equation of happiness is. The person who has the most contacts, the person who has the most widened network circle, he is supposed to be happy, right? But why the hell do you think so many countless celebrities, movie stars in the past did what they did? There is something which we are missing here. Those people always were seeking their happiness from outside, a source from which is always fluctuating, which is dependent on n number of equations. But a spiritualist, his compass is inward. The quote which I always refer to from Ramana Maharishi, where he says, "There is nothing wrong in seeking happiness. What is wrong is seeking it outward while it essentially lies within." And come out of this illusion, come out of this inception that your life is the most horrible life and everyone is doing great. No, that's not the case. And this is the truth, the hard truth. I hope you really like my video. Do share this video with a couple of your friends so that they can realize the illusion they are living in, the inception they have been living, they have been sort of hypnotized by society to live in. Thank you so much. If you like the video, do share your candid feedback. Also share this video. Also subscribe to my channel if you like the quality of work I'm delivering on this channel. Thank you so much, and I'll meet you in the next video. Bye.